Hey guys, tonight we're stepping into something different, a slow, creeping journey through the overgrown edges of France, where time has given up and silence speaks louder than memory. You're standing at the edge of a forgotten forest, the kind that never makes it onto modern maps, even though it's been here far longer than your country, your calendar, or your comfort. And fair warning, you probably won't make it out alive. Just kidding, kind of. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Leave a comment telling me where you're listening from and what time it is there. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your feet sink into the moss. Soft, but it muffles more than sound. It seems to swallow your footsteps whole. The air doesn't move, not even a breeze. No birds, no bugs. Just that weightless, pressurized silence that tells you something is listening. And whatever it is, it doesn't blink. You look back the way you came, and there's nothing. No trail, no parking lot, not even a break in the trees. It's like the forest decided you're here now. It's already forgotten the road you took to arrive. The soil smells old, wet, not in a fresh. Forest after the rain, kind of wavelet like history, sealed under leaves and never meant to be uncovered. Think about turning around, but there's nowhere to turn to. The only option is forward, even if that just means deeper. To your left, a tree leans unnaturally, bent as if bowing towards something it regrets. On the bark, something has been carved, 3 letters in old French script, faded nearly white with time. The middle one looks like it might be your initial, but your fingers hesitate before tracing it. There's a distant sound. It could be a branch cracking, could be a breath. You can't tell. You really don't want to know. Your phone, no bars, of course. It's not even midnight, and already the woods are peeling back everything modern. You notice the air has a static charge to it, like the forest remembers thunderstorms that no longer visit. You pass an old wooden fence, mostly collapsed, wrapped in vines like the forest tried to erase it. It probably succeeded. On the other side, a faint footpath, cobbled and cracked, leading somewhere deeper, somewhere quieter. You step over the last broken slat, and something changes. The light. It dims not because the sun is setting, but because the canopy above is getting thicker, more intentional. Like the forest is closing the curtains. You can't help but feel like you're being escorted, not followed, escorted. The oddest thing, you feel calm. It's not safe. But like the part of your mind that should be panicking is being cradled by the forest itself. That should be comforting. It isn't. You hear dripping water nearby, though it hasn't rained in days. The sound doesn't echo, which means something soft is catching it. Moss, maybe, or fur. Your eyes adjust to the dim. Up ahead. Rooftops, several of them low and slanted, half swallowed by the brush. It looks like a village, but it isn't on any map you've ever seen. There's a sign nailed to a crooked post. The paint has worn off, but someone once tried to scratch letters back into it with a blade. You can barely make them out. Knee, paw, rester. Don't stay. You laugh quietly. Yeah, nervous little chuckle you do. When a joke's on you and you're the only one who doesn't get it yet. Yeah. You step past the sign anyway. Because something inside you has already decided you're not just passing through this place. You're meant to be here. The stones beneath your feet are uneven, slick with moss that glows slightly in the low light. You wouldn't notice the glow if you weren't paying attention. But now everything is heightened here. Ears pick up sounds your rational mind can't explain. And your eyes scan the path ahead, like they re-looking for a memory that hasn't happened yet. You follow the cobbled trail into the mouth of the village, where the trees give way just enough to reveal structures that might have once been homes. Their frames sag inward like ribs that forgot how to protect. The walls are stone thick, hand-cut, and mortared with something too dark to be dirt. Most of the windows are shattered, but none of the glass is on the ground. You've been in ruins before. This feels different, like the place isn't ruined, just paused, like it's waiting for a specific moment to resume. A narrow archway guides you between 2 buildings, one with an old wooden sign above the door that reads Epicerie. A grocery store. There's a faded poster in the window, something about a harvest festival in 1892. The corner is torn off. It flutters slightly, though there's no wind. You step inside, or what's left of it. The wooden floor has mostly caved, revealing dirt below. Shelves still stand, strangely intact, though empty. On the back wall, someone painted a red circle. It's uneven, rushed. Maybe a warning. Maybe a promise. You don't ask. You hear a creak behind you and freeze. Not the kind of creak a board makes under weight, but one that feels older, heavier, like the building itself just remembered you don't belong here. Back outside, the path continues, splitting left and right. You pick left instinctively. It leads you toward a house with a collapsed roof, but intact shutters. One is ajar. Inside, you see something move. Not violently, but enough. A suggestion of motion. By the time you blink, it's still again. Maybe it never moved. Maybe your brain just wants this place to make sense, and movement gives it a logic. You pass the house without looking back. Further down, there's a small stone structure that looks like a well. The stones are carved with initials and hearts, some still legible. At least a dozen. I wonder how many of those couples survived the village, or if they ever left. You lean in slightly, listening. It's not dry. You hear water far below. And beneath that, something rhythmic. Not mechanical, organic. Like a breath held for too long. You pull back. There's a garden beside the well. Mostly overgrown, but here and there, you spot evidence that someone once tended it with care. A rusted pair of shears. A terracotta gnome, missing one eye. A row of plants that still grow in a perfect, unbroken line. Mint, you think. The smell is sweet, but tinged with something. Metallic. The history of this region is strange. In the early 1800s, several villages across southern France vanished from official records. No war, no disease, no famine. They just disappeared. Maps redrew themselves. Locals stopped mentioning them. Some say it was a form of rural protest. Others believe something older was at play, something never recorded to begin with. Theories, conflict. Some historians claim the land was cursed by a displaced noble family. Others argue the villagers were hiding from authorities and chose isolation over survival. But then there are the stranger theories about forests that remember, about villages that feed themselves stories to stay alive. You duck beneath a low branch that stretches across the path, dotted with tiny white flowers that close as you pass under them, like eyes shutting in recognition. On your right, a house leans so far it almost kisses the ground. The door's open, barely hanging on. You peek inside, but don't step in. The floorboards are smeared with ashnot soot, but something darker, finer. There's a handprint in the middle, pressed deep. You tell yourself not to imagine who it belonged to. Imagine them anyway. Up ahead, the trail narrows again and begins to slope gently upward. From here, you can just barely see the outline of what looks like a larger building in the distance. 2 stories tall, with a pointed rooftop and a crumbling balcony. As you walk toward it, you hear a soft shuffling behind you. It's not footsteps, something dragging. Turn, nothing, just trees. Still tall and if you're being honest, judging you a little. You keep moving, shoes crunching softly over gravel that shouldn't be here. The village is too old for that kind of paving. It's almost like the path is adjusting to you, accommodating your sense of what feels modern. A joke floats through your head. At least there's no Starbucks. But you don't laugh. You don't want to hear what might echo. You reach the building at the top of the incline. It looks like it might have been a town hall once, tall double doors, sealed shut with a rusted iron bar. The windows are all intact, but fogged from the inside. Written in the condensation is a single word. Revenez, come back. Not leave. Not go. Come back. It doesn't make sense, unless you were here before. Unless this isn't your first time. And in that moment, a strange thought slips through the cracks of your mind when you didn't plant yourself. What if you never left? You step away from the building with the fogged windows, heart pacing just a little faster now, though not in panic. More like the adrenaline of recognition, of finding a familiar street in a dream you don't remember entering. The word Revenez stays with you, flickering at the edges of your thoughts like an unfinished sentence. The trees here grow more densely again, as if the village exhaled, and the forest is reclaiming the breath. You follow a trail of stones leading through tangled grass and crooked fence posts. The air changes cooler, quieter. Even the birds that weren't chirping before seem more absent now, as if something told them to hush. You cross beneath an archstone, cracked, covered in moss sand. Suddenly you're standing in a courtyard. It's round, with a raised platform in the center. A crumbling fountain. Water drips slowly from the mouth of a stone fox whose eyes have long since eroded away. The ground around it is littered with tiny porcelain fragments, tea cups, maybe a gathering place once. To the side is a long, low building with wooden shutters still clinging desperately to their hinges. As you pass it, you hear something unusual: paper, rustling sound, like pages turning in a room with no breeze. You peer through the window.
Ow.
Inside, you see rows of wooden desks, small ones, child-sized. A one-room school. A blackboard spans the front wall, and even from here you can see the chalk has been rubbed into smudges. You tilt your head.
Ow.
The names. They're gone. Completely erased, not in the careless way children smudge things, but purposefully. With pressure, all that remains are faint outlines, as if someone didn't want the names to be remembered. You push the door. It creaks open with minimal resistance, like it was expecting you. The air inside is dry. Still, you can almost hear the echo of lessons once whispered. The scolding of a strict teacher, the soft giggle of students passing notes. There's a map on the wall, France, but with unfamiliar borders. Certain towns are circled in red. You move closer. One of the towns has been scribbled out violently multiple times. The name is indecipherable. You find a stack of notebooks in a drawer. The pages are blank except for the last one in each book. Each has a small drawing. It's always the same. A forest, a circle of stones, and a figure standing in the center, arms stretched wide, like an offering. You place the notebook back and leave the school behind. Back outside, the wind picks up for the first time. A low, crawling breeze that brushes the back of your neck and immediately disappears. You hear something above you, a soft creaking. You look up. In the tree to your right, there's a swing. Rope, weathered, seat wood. The kind of swing you'd expect in a storybook, not in a place like this. And yet it sways gently, even though the branches above it are still. You keep walking. A strange building appears in the distance, taller, more ornate than the rest. As you get closer, you see it's a chapel. But something's off. There's no cross, no bell. The stained glass is shattered, yes, but it's been swept into neat piles along the aisle, like someone took great care after the destruction. The door creaks open as you touch it. Inside, the pews are arranged backward. They don't face the altar. They face the entrance, as if the congregation had been instructed to watch the door, not the sermon. The altar itself is small, plain. A simple stone table with a single object resting on top. A brass key. It's tarnished, but intricate, shaped like vines wrapped around each other. You pick it up. It's surprisingly warm. You pocket it before you can second-guess yourself. Suddenly, you hear a sound from the back of the cupola bell. But there's no bell tower. Sound doesn't ring above. It rings through. You feel it in your chest, like a low hum from the earth itself. You freeze. It rings again. And with it comes a memory that isn't yours. Cold stone under bare feet. Candlelight flickering against the walls, voices speaking in a dialect you can almost understand. Then it's gone. You back out slowly and return to the courtyard. The fox fountain still drips. The air feels denser, heavier. Like the village has acknowledged you now. Not just your presence, but your curiosity. And it's begun responding. You pass a broken sign half buried in the dirt. You dig it out enough to read. Les Silencio. The silent ones. You pause, fingers brushing across the letters. The sign is old. Pre-revolution, maybe? The paint is baked into the grain of the wood, not applied on top. That kind of craftsmanship wasn't cheap. A lot of things about this village don't add up. You recall a detail, a footnote from some article you read late at night about abandoned French communes. It mentioned a village where silence wasn't just encouraged, it was enforced. A place where children were raised to never speak until they were 6, where the bell didn't call people to prayer, but signaled the arrival of the watchers. The article was pulled shortly after publication. You thought it was a hoax? But now, standing here, you wonder if that village wasn't a myth. You wonder if you're in it. As you turn to walk away, the wind picks up again. In this time, it doesn't feel random. It feels ... timed. And far behind you, back in the chapel, you hear the sound of footsteps. Not running. Pacing. You don't run. You tell yourself not to run. because running would mean something's chasing you, and right now, you're still in the safety of not knowing. The footsteps from the chapel fade. Or maybe they never really echoed out loud. Maybe they were inside your ears, inside your chest, like that bell was. The village unfolds further as you move on. Buildings come closer together, almost leaning into one another, like conspirators whispering a secret. You pass one that looks like a bakery. The chimney is still intact, blackened at the top. The air around it smells faintly of something sweet, to faint to wrong, like someone trying to remember what cinnamon used to be. The door is open. Inside, there are no loaves, no pans. Oh, just shelves. Full of stones. Perfectly rounded river stones, placed like pastries. Each one is marked with a thin red thread tied in a loop, like a garnish. You don't touch them, you keep moving. The road curves now, a soft bend that feels carefully designed, almost welcoming. And there, nestled at the end of it, stands what must have once been the mayor's house. It's larger than the rest, symmetrical in that stern, French countryside waste-slate roof, for chimneys. 2 lanterns flanking a door of deep green paint long chipped to gray. One lantern is flickering. You watch it for a moment. It shouldn't be. The glass is shattered. There's no flame. Inside, the house feels less ruined than the others. Furniture still stands. The air smells recent. Like something has been living here. Not animals. Something deliberate. The wallpaper peels in long strips, revealing phrases written beneath in a looping, obsessive hand. Most are illegible, except one. Le mirror war n'oublie pas. The mirror does not forget. You find the mirror in the back parlor, propped against the wall like someone had tried to move it and given up halfway. It's full length, framed in dark walnut. Carved into the wood are dozens of tiny hands-open palms. No detail, just shape. Dozens, maybe more. You look into it, and at first, nothing. It's just your reflection, your breath, the room. Then something shifts. It's not your surroundings. The wallpaper repairs itself. The furniture resets. Outside the window behind you, people pass by, dressed in 19th century garb, moving with purpose, not looking at you, but moving around you, as if you're in their world now, not the other way around. And then someone turns to face you. A boy, maybe 9, 10 years old. He walks slowly toward the mirror, stops an inch from the glass, looks directly at you. His lips move. Can't hear the words, but you read them clearly. Come back, you blink. The room is empty again. The mirror's just glass now. You touch it. It's warm. In the hallway, you find a door ajar, leading upstairs. Dot. Out of fear. But because part of you already knows what's there. You don't know how, but you do. Upstairs, the floorboards are sturdier than they should be. The hallway is lined with portraits mayors of the past, you assume? But the faces are all scratched out. Only the eyes remain untouched. At the end of the hall is a door slightly open. Inside, you find a study. Dusty books, inkwell tipped over, dried black creeping across the wood like a spider frozen mid-scurry. On the desk, a journal. The pages are brittle. The ink faded, but you can still make out a few lines. The silence is not punishment. It is protection. They listen beneath the roots. They do not forget. The mirror showed me the moment I was unmade. We are the echo of something worse. You stop reading. Outside, the wind howls, not playful this time, urgent, as if reminding you that time moves here, but not like it should. You head downstairs and exit the house. The lantern no longer flickers. Back on the path, you notice something new. A door, just a door, standing upright in the middle of the village square. No frame, no wall. Just a tall green door, freestanding like a prop. You walk around it. It's real, wooden, hinged. A brass doorknob with a pattern that matches the key you took from the chapel. You hold the key up. It clicks into place, as if it's been waiting. But you don't open it, not yet, because something catches your eye movement, faint to your left. A curtain barely moving in a house you swore was empty before. And behind it, for the briefest moment, a silhouette. Small. Still, you wait. Nothing. You turn back to the door. And it's open. Just slightly. Enough to invite. enough to warn. There's that feeling again. Like the forest, the village, the silence itself is nudging you forward. Because here, stories don't ask for permission. They swallow you whole. You step toward the freestanding door, heart held in your throat like a coin resting on the edge of a fountain waiting to drop. The opening is narrow, just enough to see pitch black on the other side, but not enough to see what's inside. You push it open fully, half expecting the village to vanish behind it, like in a dream that can't sustain logic. But no, it doesn't vanish. Instead, the world becomes quieter, denser. The air shifts. And you step through. What meets you isn't another world. It's the same one, but slightly off, like the village blinked. And now it's wearing a different face. Cobblestones are still beneath your feet, but they shine now, wet with dew or something like it. The buildings have shifted just a bit. Doors that were closed are now open. Windows reflect things that aren't you. The sky has darkened, though no sun sets. It just bruises. You hear a soft humming, not human, not mechanical, something in between. It vibrates in the base of your skull like a note you've never learned, but suddenly remember. Up ahead is a building that hadn't been there before, smaller, almost hidden in the mist. A post office. The sign above it hangs slightly crooked. It's the most intact thing you've seen so far. Glass unbroken, the door unjammed. You don't knock. Somehow you know that would be rude. Inside, the scent is instant and strange. Lavender, leather, and smoke. But underneath it all, something distinctly metallic. It's not blood, not rust, just metal. Pigeonholes line the walls, each stuffed with yellowing envelopes. No labels, no addresses. But each one has a wax seal, the same seal as the key from earlier. Vines coiled into a circle. And then you notice something else. On the desk sits a stack of unopened letters. Each one is addressed to you. Not your full name, just your first name, in your handwriting. You pick one up. It's sealed. No postage. Just the date. 6 months from now. You open it. Inside is a single line. You should not have come back. You put it down. Pick up the next. This one is messier, ink smudged. The paper is torn at the edge. They don't forget, but they forgive if you feed them. Feed who? You reach for a third. But the humming stops. Instantly. The silence that follows is so complete, it presses against your eardrums. And you realize there was no natural sound here before. No crickets, no wind. Just that artificial hum. And now nothing. The door creaks behind you. You turn, and someone is standing outside the post office, still waiting. You can't see their face. They're wearing something dark, like a coat, or maybe robes. It's hard to tell. They don't move. They just exist. You blink. They're gone. You check the letters again. They're gone too. Even the one you held. You step outside and scan the horizon. The village continues. But the layout has changed again. Buildings have shifted. Familiar paths now curve in new directions. The fountain is missing. In its place is a circle of stones. 6 of them, ranged neatly in a ring, like teeth waiting to chew. You remember the drawing from the school books, the forest, the stones, the figure standing in the middle? That figure looks more like you now than you're willing to admit. You approach the stone circle. As you near it, you feel resistance. It's not wind, not a physical barrier, just dread. Heavy and sticky, like walking through honey thick with grief. You cross the boundary anyway. Inside it's colder and quieter. Even your thoughts seem to dull at the edges. There's something in the Santara chair, wooden, old, carved with the same symbols from the key, the mirror, the letters. You hear a voice, not loud, not whispering, just present. Sit. You don't know where it came from. You don't know if you actually heard it, but your knees move anyway. Your feet find the path forward. You lower yourself onto the chair. Nothing happens. Not at first. Then. The trees begin to sway not with wind, but with intention, like a slow nod. You close your eyes, and you see something you shouldn't. A memory, but not yours. A village gathering, centuries ago. Children standing in a circle. A figure in robes marking each forehead with ash. A bell tolling, 6 times. Then darkness. The chair creaks beneath you. You open your eyes. And in front of you, which stone now holds a shadow, not a figure, a shadow. shaped like people, featureless, watching. They do not speak. They do not move. But they do not leave. And neither you suspect can you. You try to stand. Your legs obey. The shadows vanish. The village breathes again. You step out of the circle. The world feels thinner now. Less real. You wonder, quietly, if it ever was. The path away from the stone circle doesn't feel like escape. It feels like permission. Like something allowed you to leave just to see what you'll do next. The ground beneath your shoes is softer now. Not dirt, not stone. Something in between. Like the forest is testing different surfaces to see what unsettles you most. You walk past the post office again, but it's changed. The building is now sealed shut. Windows boarded, as if it never opened in the first place. A metal sign has been added, handmade, scorched at the edges. It reads, "The letter you open, opens something else. You don't stay long." The village narrows, then widens again in odd rhythms, like breath caught mid-cycle. The bend in the road. You see a shop. Or it used to be one. It's missing its roof entirely, and plants have begun reclaiming the inside like they were always meant to. Above the entrance, a sign dangles from one chain. You can only read the last word. Horloger, the clockmaker. Curious, you step inside. The air smells of iron and cedar. A strange combination, comforting, then suddenly sharp. The walls are lined with shelves that still hold timepieces. Wall clocks, pocket watches, ornate metronomes, sand timers with cracked bulbs. None of them tick, except one. At the far end of the room is a grandfather clock. Its pendulum is missing, but somehow it ticks. Steady, even loud. The minute hand moves. Backwards. And with each click, the air inside the room pulses, as if syncing your breath with its rhythm. You try to look away, but your eyes keep returning to the hands. The time reads 11:47, then 11:46, then 11:45. You blink. It's 11:52. No, 29. The numbers keep changing, but not in order. You step closer. And as you do, something behind the clock stirs. You lean in. Behind it, barely visible through a warped panel, is a cavity in the wall. Small, dark, but clearly man-made. You reach in, fingers brushing something thin. Paper. You pull it out. It's a note. Fold it over and over again until it's the size of a matchbox. You open it carefully. Inside, in impossibly small handwriting, the ticking is not the passage of time. It is its correction. You read it again and again. What does that even mean? Your attention snaps back to the clock. It has stopped ticking. But not because it's broken, it has noticed you. The hour hand shudders once, then jumps ahead, straight to midnight. And the room exhales. Every clock begins ticking at once, a violent, discordant chorus of time trying to remember itself. The sound is deafening. You stumble back, knocking into a shelf. A pocket watch falls and bursts open. There's no mechanism inside, only a curled-up beetle long dead. You rush outside, heart pounding, the echo of the ticking still clinging to your skin like smoke. The sky overhead has changed color. It's not darker, just wrong.
Gray-green.
A shade of gray-green that doesn't belong in any atmosphere. As you catch your breath, you notice something else. There are new footprints on the path. Not yours. Barefoot, small. Leading away from the shop and into the woods again, you follow them. You tell yourself it's curiosity, but it's not. It's gravity. Emotional, ancestral gravity. As if the forest has gently hooked a thread into your spine and is tugging you forward. The trees deepen. Bark peels in spiral patterns now, not vertical. Pass a tree marked with a red string, tied like a bow around the trunk. Then another, then 5 more. Each bow tied tighter than the last. At the base of one, you see a glass jar, buried halfway in the soil. Inside is a folded note and something that looks like hair. You don't open it. You keep moving. Eventually, you come to a clearing. At its center is a long stone table, cracked down the middle, moss pushing through like veins. Around it, chairs made of branches entwined, some collapsed, some standing. One chair has a name etched into it. Your name, the letters are carved deep, not recent. You touch it. The wood is cold. Beneath your fingers, the carvings hum, almost like purring. Pull your hand away. Something is wrong here. But it's a different kind of wrong. Not danger, not dread. This wrong feels familiar, like you've been here before, like maybe you never left. Phrase floats into your mind, unbidden. This village doesn't keep time, it keeps people. You don't know where the words came from, but you know they're true. And somewhere, from deep within the forest, you hear that humming again, only now it sounds closer and hungry. You turn slowly toward the direction of the hum. It's not music, it's not a machine, it's the sound of something. Alive but not breathing, constant, low, and resonant. Like the forest has found a frequency that slides under your skin without asking. You follow it, not because you want to, but because not following feels worse, like denying gravity or holding your breath underwater. Each step takes you deeper into a part of the woods the village doesn't speak about, not aloud, not on any maps. This part feels older, wilder. The trees are spaced wider apart now, but their trunks are thick, ancient, scarred by weather, and perhaps something else. Their roots push out of the ground like limbs, like fingers trying to climb back into the earth. Then you see it, a stone archway, taller than the trees around it, freestanding, no structure, no explanation. It's covered in lichen and symbols, some Roman, some Greek, some that aren't part of any language you've seen. And etched right across the top, in elegant French script, Ce qui, rest est, Ce qui. What remains is what listens. You hesitate. Then you walk through. The hum stops. It not fades. It stops. The absence is louder than the sound was. The air is different here, warmer, slightly damp, like breath on glass. It smells like violets and rust. Not unpleasant, just intrusive. You find yourself in a glade, perfectly round, too perfect. The grass is short, trimmed as if manicured. At the center is a tree-just one, taller than the rest, bare of leaves. Its bark is white, like ash or bone. And nailed into the trunk, exactly at eye level, is a mask. Porcelain, cracked down the middle. Its expression, neutral. Utterly blank. But behind the eyes, there's something watching. Not from within the mask, but through it, like it's a lens for something far worse. Beneath it, on the ground, is a small plaque. Metal, oxidized. You kneel to read it. Return what you borrowed. Take only what is offered. You have no idea what that means. Yet, then you hear it. Footsteps. Soft. Bare. You look up. And there, across the glade, stands a child. Or at least the shape of one. Short. Still. Wearing a long tunic or dress indistinct. The face is obscured, but the posture is unmistakable. Watching you, not with fear, not with malice, but with familiarity, as if they've been waiting. They raise one arm slowly and point toward the mask, then vanish. Not run, vanish, as if they were never there. The humming returns, louder now. And coming from the mask, you step forward. Your hand rises not entirely by your own will. You touch the porcelain. It's cold and dry. And vibrating. The moment your fingers rest against it, a rush of images floods your mind. Not memories, scenes. People sitting around the stone table, their mouths sewn shut, a bell tolling from underground. Letters catching fire without burning their envelopes. The mirror uncracking from the inside. And through it all, the whisper, what you borrow becomes part of you. You pull your hand back. The mask stops humming. The glade is still. But when you look down at your hands, they're no longer entirely yours. Your skin, your palms have writing on them now. Faded ink, like a forgotten note scribbled in haste. You can't read it all. Just one phrase, clear as glass. You spoke when you should have listened. You stumble backward, breath shallow. The air presses in, but the archway is gone. There's no way back. Only a trail, newly carved through the underbrush. At the end of it, a light, faint, orange, flickering, like a fire in the distance, or a window left open. Either way, the forest is done watching. Now it wants to speak. The trail winds like a question that already knows the answer. It narrows as you follow it, hedged in by branches that don't scratch, they caress, like the forest is memorizing your shape. The flickering light grows brighter with each step, warm but inconsistent, like a flame not entirely committed to staying lit. Then you see it. A house, or what used to be one. It's small, stone, nearly overtaken by ivy and moss, but the firelight flickers from within. One of the windows glows orange, and smoke curls lazily from a chimney made of mismatched bricks. It shouldn't be standing, and yet it feels the most alive of any structure you've encountered. The door is open. It's just slightly, of course. Do you knock once? The sound is hollow and thin, like knocking on an empty birdcage. No response. You step inside. The warmth hits you immediately, not just temperature, but memory. The scent of pine, of dried herbs hanging from wooden beams. Dust, but comforting dust. The kind that settles in a place that's been loved, or haunted by love. The room is small. A fireplace to your left, glowing softly. A table at the center, with 2 chairs, only one pulled out. On it sits a bowl of dark liquid and a spoon carved from bone. Opposite the fire, a cabinet. On its top shelf, 6 candles, each burned down to a different height. The flames on the fireplace crackle as you step closer. You speak, you don't mean to. But the words come out anyway. Is this mine? Not with a voice, but with a memory. A vision floods your mind. Someone sitting at this very table. Their face is your face, but older, or maybe younger. Speaking softly to the flames, feeding them scraps of paper, watching the smoke curl into phrases that no longer exist in spoken language. You blink. The fire dims. Something on the mantel glints. Key. Smaller than the one from the chapel. More delicate. You reach for its hand just before your fingers close around it. A sharp knock slams against the door behind you. You freeze. Another knock. Slower, heavier. The flames recoil. You wait. Silent. No third knock comes. You pocket the key. A sudden cold sweeps the room. One of the candles extinguishes without sound. You rush to the window. Outside, standing where you were moments ago, is a figure, you, but not you. The posture is the same. The clothes, slightly different, older or newer. Their hands are by their sides. Their face is turned slightly up, as if watching the chimney. They don't try to come in, they just observe, like you're the ghost, like you're the one haunting now. You don't blink. But when you turn back toward the table, the bowl is empty. Spoon is gone, and so is the warmth. The fire is out. Only smoke remains, curling upward like a question mark no one plans to answer. You leave the house quickly, heart thumping against your ribs like a hand knocking from the inside. Outside, the forest is still, unnaturally still. Even the wind has gone silent. You retrace your steps toward the glade, hoping to find a landmark, but the trees don't match. The trail curves where it didn't before. Stump you passed is now whole, a young tree growing in its place. Time is not behaving. You begin to suspect it's never behaved here, that it bends around memory, not moments. And right then, as you round the next bend, you find a photograph. Just there. Clipped to a tree branch with a rusty pin. A Polaroid, barely faded. It's of you, standing in the village square. But here's the thing. You've never stood exactly where the photo shows. You've never worn the shirt you're wearing in it. You turn it over. On the back, written in that same delicate, rushing handwriting you've seen before, take only what remembers you. You pocket the photo not because it makes sense, but because it doesn't. And just as you do, you hear a laugh. Soft, small, a child's laugh, coming from just behind the next tree. Step forward and find no child, just a circle of mushrooms, and within it, your footprints. Already there, already dried, as if you've already walked this path, as if you've never stopped. You step back from the mushroom circle instinctively, like your body knows something your mind can't yet articulate. The footprints inside are unmistakably yours, right foot slightly turned out. The tread worn in the same place your shoes always wear thin, but you've never stood there. Not until now. Which means either time is looping or something is rehearsing you. The child's laugh echoes again. Softer now, as if moving farther away or deeper into the trees. You don't follow it. Not yet. You turn toward the direction you think the village might be. But the trees crowd in again, denser, closer, taller than they should be. They lean slightly inward, branches like arms draped over one another as if forming a ceiling. It's not claustrophobic, it's ceremonial. This doesn't feel like a forest anymore. It feels like a cathedral. The air grows cooler, sharper, and ahead a clearing. Not like the others. This one is rectangular, naturally precise. Stones line the perimeter, smooth and evenly spaced. In the center, a rectangular slab of granite waist-high. An altar, or a table, or both. You don't step inside at first. You just observe. There's something carved into the stone slab. You can't read it from here, but the shapes look familiar, curves and loops like vines or tendrils. You've seen them before. On the mirror. On the key. On the letters that weren't supposed to exist. You step forward, and suddenly, everything is louder. Not with sound, but with presence. The trees are listening again. The ground hums under your feet. You're in the heart of something now. It knows you're here. As you approach the slab, you see the carvings more clearly. They form a sentence, repeating in a spiral from the center out. Memory is not a timeline. It is a circle that chooses you. You reach out and place your hand on the stone. Cold, impossibly cold, and then warmth. Rising up from the granite like a slow breath. And with it comes sensation. Not memory, not quite, or like dicey vu, stretched too far. You're sitting at the table now, not standing. Sitting. The stone has become wood beneath your hands. A table set for 6. You look around and there they are. 5 others. You recognize none of them, and yet you know them. An old woman with eyes like polished coal. A man in a blood-spattered apron, calm as sleep. A child with a cracked mask covering half their face. A tall figure in robes whose skin flickers like candle flame. And across from you an empty chair, your chair, but you're already in it. They don't speak. They don't eat. They wait. You try to stand. The chair holds you. The figure in robes raises a hand and points not at you, but behind you, you turn and the forest is gone. The room is gone. You're back in the clearing. The stone is just stone. But now there's something sitting on top of it. Candle, black, unlit, wound tightly with red thread. Beside it, a matchbox. You don't need instructions. But as you reach for the matchbox, you notice your hand. Your left palm now bears a symbol burned into the skin, not bleeding, just there, the circle of stones again. 6 dots, 1 in the center. You strike a match. The candle lights instantly, no smoke, no scent. The flame is blue at the base, white at the tip. To clean, to be ordinary, and then you hear it. The child's laugh again, lay this time right behind you. You turn, there's no child. It's just a mirror, standing upright between 2 trees. Freestanding like the door from before. You walk toward it, match still in hand. The candle's flame does not flicker. You reach the mirror and look into it. But it doesn't show your reflection. It shows the child, standing alone in the village square, facing away from you. Then the child turns. Their face is yours. You blink, and the mirror cracks once down the center. Behind you, the candle extinguishes. You are alone. Again, but the air is heavier now. As if you've just agreed to something. And whatever you agreed to is beginning. The silence that follows is thick, like fog wrapped around your ears. The candle's extinguished smoke trails upward in a perfect line, undisturbed by wind or breath. The mirror now shows only your face, again framed by cracked glass, as if the forest itself no longer trusts what you are becoming.
Ow.
You step back from it, slowly. The crunch of dead leaves beneath your feet feels louder than it should. You scan the clearing again, but nothing else has changed. And that's the unsettling part. You feel like it should have. Something should have shifted. Instead, everything just waits. There's a narrow path leading away from the mirror. Not visible until now, tucked between 2 thick oaks whose trunks twist around each other like lovers caught mid-argument. You follow it, the air colder now, even as the trees thin. It smells like iron and mint. Something ancient trying to remember how to feel fresh. A few paces in, you see it. A well, circular, built from dark, uneven stones, moss crawling down its side like veins. There's no roof or bucket, just a circle in the ground with an iron crank and a frayed rope disappearing into shadow. A wooden sign leans against it. The paint flaked away almost entirely. You can just make out the word Acotes. Listen. You approach the well and lean over the edge. It's deep. Deeper than it should be. You expect to see water, but there's nothing but blackness. Still, your ears catch something. Whispers. Not in French. Not in English. Not in any language meant to be understood. It's just tones. Like wind speaking syllables. And then your name. Soft. Almost apologetic. You step back. The rope attached to the crank jiggles. Something below has tugged it. You hesitate, then turn the crank. The rope rises slowly, heavy, stiff with damp. You brace yourself for whatever it's pulling up, but what emerges surprises you. A box, small, wooden, bound in more of that familiar red thread. There's no lock, no hinges. Just a seam where the lid meets the base, and a folded note nailed to the top. You unfold it. If you open this, you agree to remember. You look down at the box. You open it, inside ash. Nothing more. But as you look at it, your vision changes. It's no longer a box. It's a fire, a campfire, and you're sitting beside it with others. You don't know how many or who they are, but you feel their presence. You hear the crackle of the flames, and you hear voices, yours among them. It's telling stories, laughing, sharing memories that were never yours, but feel like they belong to you now. And then one of the others says, "Do you remember the promise?" You don't speak because you don't know what they mean, but you nod anyway. The vision fades. The box is just a box again. The ash now cold. But beneath it, something new. A coin. One side is blank. The other bears the same circle of stones symbol burned into your palm. You pocket it. Of course you do. The wind picks up. Real wind this time. Sharp and fast. It rushes past you, knocking leaves from the trees, stirring the forest into a whispering murmur. It feels like the woods exhaling. You leave the well behind. The trail curves again, always curving, always nudging. You realize now the forest doesn't block your way. It guides. It wants you to follow, but you still don't know to where. Eventually you reach a clearing, but this one is different. Open sky, moonlight above. Full, too full. Bigger than physics allows. And in the center, a house. Massive. Victorian. Out of place in a forest like this. Windows shuttered, chimney long dead. But the front door is wide open, and the light spilling from within is not firelight. It's blue, soft, cold, unnatural. You step forward. The path behind you disappears, and somewhere deep in the forest, the whisper returns. Not words, just presence, waiting for you inside. Because now it's not just about wandering. It's about remembering what comes after. You step onto the porch of the Victorian house, and the wood groans beneath your feet like a living thing remembering pain. The front door is open just enough to let the blue light spill out, but not enough for you to see its source. The color of the glow is the kind of blue you'd expect from deep-sea creatures or television statica. Light that doesn't warm but still manages to pull you forward. You hesitate in the doorway. The moment you cross the threshold, the temperature drops by several degrees. The blue light isn't coming from a lamp or fire. It's pulsing softly from a chandelier. Overhead, its bulbs replaced with glass orbs, filled with swirling liquid. Inside them, shadows move, not randomly, but rhythmically, almost like they're swimming. You don't speak. You don't want to find out if the house answers back. The door creaks shut behind you with a whisper of finality. The foyer is wide and high-ceilinged. Dust coats the surfaces, but the air smells faintly of citrus strangely fresh. There are portraits on the walls, all turned to face away, not crooked, deliberately reversed, as if their painted gazes were no longer welcome or no longer trustworthy. A grand staircase curls upward to your right. The blue light leads straight ahead, toward a long hallway lined with closed doors. You follow it. Your steps are muffled, as if the house prefers quiet. Your fingertips brush the wallpaper. Faded floral patterns that occasionally pulse beneath your touch, like veins reacting to contact. Then you come to a door. This one is different. Heavier, iron hinges. No knob, just a circular indentation in the center. You reach into your pocket, the coin. It fits perfectly. Soon as you press it in, the door breathes open with a sigh. The room inside is circular. Oh? The walls curve seamlessly, covered in mirrors. Dozens of them, floor to ceiling, all slightly warped, none reflecting quite accurately. One makes you look older, another makes you look younger. One version of you is smiling when you aren't. In the center, a chair. You already know it's meant for you. You sit. The mirrors don't wait. Each one lights up softly, as if illuminated from within, and in each reflection, you see a version of yourself. But not imagined. Remembered? Moments you'd forgotten. Moments you'd buried. One shows you standing in front of a hospital, too afraid to go inside. Another shows you holding a photograph you tore in half years ago, still unread on the back. Another your hand reaching for a phone you never picked up. They aren't nightmares. They're memories. You try to look away. But one reflection catches you. It's the version of you from the glade, from the vision at the stone table, sitting, smiling faintly, as if they know what comes next. And then that version raises its hand and places it on the mirror's surface. Instinctively, you do the same. The glass is warm, and it ripples. Only that mirror. Only that you. You feel it pulling. Not your body, your name. Your sense of self. That version wants to trade places. Or maybe it already did. You yank your hand back. The ripple ceases. All the other mirrors go dark. The one in front of you, still glowing, still watching, still smiling. You rise from the chair slowly. The coin falls from the door behind you and rolls to a stop against your foot. Its symbol has changed. Now it shows a keyhole. You pocket it again. The hallway outside is darker now. The blue light retreating back into the chandelier above. The staircase waits to your right. You start climbing. Each step creaks not under your weight, but like it's reacting to memory, as if every person who's ever taken these stairs left part of themselves behind. A breath, hope, a fear. At the top, a hallway of doors. All shut. All identical, except the last one. It's open. Inside is a bedroom. Unremarkable, except for one thing. There's someone sleeping in the bed. You walk closer. It's you, peaceful. Still, breathing. Your first instinct is to reach out. Your second is to run. But you do neither. Instead, you watch as your sleeping self exhales slowly and then opens its eyes and looks directly at you. No fear, no surprise. It's just one question, mouthed without sound. Which one of us is dreaming? Then the room goes black, and you're falling. It's not through space, through memory. You fall for what feels like hours, not down through air, but down through sensations, memories folding inward, collapsing like paper set alight at the corners. You pass through fragments of your own life, twisted in unfamiliar colors, as if someone tried to redraw your past using a palette. They'd only half understood. You're walking to school, but the street signs are in Latin. You're eating dinner, but the utensils melt as you hold them. You're crying in a room that doesn't exist anymore. And then suddenly you land. Not hard, not with impact. You're standing again, in the village only. It's different. The sky above you is a deep violet, streaked with threads of pink and orange, like sunset paused mid-sentence. The village is silent, but not asleep. There's a stillness to everything, like a stage before the curtain rises. You look down. You're holding something in your hand. A lantern, familiar, the same one that flickered at the mayor's house. Inside, the flame burns white. But this time, it casts no shadow. Ahead of you, the buildings are in perfect shape. No rot, no moss, no time. Everything looks restored. And yet it feels less real than before, too perfect. Like a memory someone's tried to preserve in glass. As you walk, you notice something strange. There are people here now. None of them acknowledge you. They walk past, talk, sit on benches. Children laugh in the distance, but not one face turns your way. You try to speak. Nothing comes out. You wave. They don't see. You touch a lamppost. Your hand passes through. You're not here. Not fully. You realize this isn't the present. It's a preserved loop. The moment before it all broke? the village before the silence. You move toward the square, where the fountain now flows clear and full. Around it, 6 figures stand, hooded, silent, holding objects. A book, a candle, a mirror, a coin, a mask, a bell. Each turns, slowly, toward the center of the square, the 7th figure, the one holding the key. Your key, they say nothing, but the bell is lifted. It rings once and everything freezes, even the wind. The water in the fountain halts mid-fall. You blink, and you're alone in the square again. The buildings return to their state of decay. The people are gone. Only the fountain remains, water trickling softly. You step closer. Inside it now rests a single item, the cracked mask from the glade. Its porcelain surface is dry, but its eyes, you can call them, that seem wet. Watching. You reach in. The water is warmer than it should be. You lift the mask. And the second you do, the sky above begins to shift violet, bleeding into a blue-black void, like ink dropped in milk. Then, from the direction of the woods, comes a sound. Footsteps, but not from one person, from many. Slow, methodical, surrounding you turn, lantern raised. Shapes emerge from between the buildings, some tall, some small, all familiar in silhouette, but indistinct in face. They carry nothing. They say nothing, but they begin forming a circle. Around you, around the fountain. One steps forward, the child. The one with your face, no longer laughing, just looking. They hold out a hand, waiting. You glance at the mask in your hand, and back to the child. The air is still. The moment stretches. And somewhere in your bones, you feel it. This is a test of memory, of truth, surrender. You raise the mask and place it over your own face. It fits perfectly, too perfectly. And in that instant, you are not yourself. You are every version of yourself. The child, the sleeper, the mirror, the dreamer. You remember everything. You understand nothing. And the last thing you hear, just before the world folds again, is a voice you now know as your own. To escape the forest, you must become part of it. Shapes emerge from between the buildings, some tall, some small, all familiar in silhouette, but indistinct in face. They carry nothing. They say nothing, but they begin forming a circle. Around you, around the fountain. One steps forward, the child. The one with your face, no longer laughing, just looking. They hold out a hand, waiting. You glance at the mask in your hand, and back to the child. The air is still. The moment stretches. And somewhere in your bones, you feel it. This is a test of memory, of truth, surrender. You raise the mask and place it over your own face. It fits perfectly, too perfectly. And in that instant, you are not yourself. You are every version of yourself. The child, the sleeper, the mirror, the dreamer. You remember everything. You understand nothing. And the last thing you hear, just before the world folds again, is a voice you now know as your own. To escape the forest, you must become part of it. You sit, because standing feels dishonest now. You pick up the tea. It tastes like rosemary and smoke. And as it slides down your throat, your vision shifts again, not violently, not sharply, gently, like the tide pulling you into a warmer sea. You see the village again. From above the buildings, the chapel, the post office, you see the versions of yourself, walking paths you've already walked, repeating, becoming a spiral, not a loop. And then the faces of those who came before you, those who tried to forget, those who chose to remember. You see yourself as part of them now, not a visitor, a resident. The final page of the journal curls up in a breeze that doesn't come from the window. You read the last line. To be at peace here, you must stop asking where here is. Outside, the lanterns begin to dim. The sky softens. The forest exhales. The cottage is no longer a waypoint. It's home. The tea cools in your hands as the room grows quieter, not empty, just settled. The kind of quiet you find in libraries or old churches, where every object has its place and nothing dares move unless invited. You set the cup down. The mask still rests against your face, not heavy, but present. Its edges feel like memory sharp in some places, blurred in others. You no longer see through it, you see with it. Outside the window, the forest begins to shift. Not dramatically, just subtle changes. Trees parting, vines loosening. The path you walked is gone now, swallowed, and in its place, a field of white flowers. They sway gently in a wind you can't hear. You step outside. The world has softened. Every sound is muffled, as if wrapped in cotton or snow. Your feet move without command, following a path that no longer needs to be visible. The flowers make no sound as you walk through them, only bend slightly, as if bowing in recognition. At the far end of the field, the ground rises gently. A hill, and at the top, another mirror. Larger this time, taller than you, framed in rusted gold. Its surface is clean, too clean. You approach. Your reflection is not quite you. Tilts its head before you do. It lifts its hand moments before yours. Smiles when you don't. You lean in. And from the other side, your reflection whispers, "We've both been waiting." Then it steps backward and invites you through. You hesitate only once. Then you step in. It's not cold. It's not even strange. It's like falling into a perfectly made bed or sliding into a memory you've always loved but never lived. On the other side, the village. Again, but different. Alive. Not in the literal sense, but with presence, with intention. Windows glow with firelight. Doors creak open as you pass. Oh, people, just echoes. Echoes of laughter, meals, arguments, lullabies. They don't overwhelm. They float around you like leaves in a slow wind. You walk the main street to the fountain, still trickling, still patient, and sitting at its edge, the child. One with your face. They look up and finally speak, not with your voice, but with the voice you used to have long before you forgot who you were becoming. You made it. Most don't. They pat the stone next to them. You sit. You're not afraid. Not anymore. And you ask simply, what now? They look toward the forest, where the trees have started to shimmer faintly in the dusk light. Now you sleep. And with that, the lanterns begin to relight themselves. One by one, a path. Not away from the village, but deeper into it. You understand. Now that it never wanted to keep you, it wanted you to stay. There's a difference. You walk the path again, slow and steady, with the mask still resting on your face, and the knowledge of your own echo stitched into your footsteps. The trees sway just slightly as you pass, acknowledging, accepting, and ahead on the edge of everything. The cottage. One last time, waiting for you, as it always has. You return to the cottage as if your feet have always known the way. The door is open, not wide, not urgent, just enough to suggest. You can come in when you're ready. You step over the threshold, and this time, the floorboards make no sound. The fire in the hearth has rekindled itself. The journal is gone. Tea is warm again. The mask slips from your face. It's not with a tug, not with resistance. It simply knows when it's no longer needed. You set it on the table, next to a small folded cloth you hadn't noticed before. When you unfold it, you find items that once belonged to you in other places, other versions of this journey. The photo from the tree branch, the beetle shell pocket watch, the candle from the clearing. None of them feel strange anymore. None of them feel out of place. They were always yours. A soft breeze stirs the curtains, though. There's no open window. You hear a faint bell, far off in the distance. Not ominous, not warning, just marking time. That perhaps no longer matters the way it once did. You walk to the corner of the room where a bed waits low to the floor, with a blanket that smells like lavender and earth. You lie down. The weight of the journey catches up with you, not all at once, but like a warm quilt being pulled up slowly, inch by inch, until even your thoughts begin to dim. The fire crackles in a rhythm that almost sounds like breathing. For the first time, the silence doesn't feel empty. It feels full. You close your eyes, and the house hums. Not a melody. A memory. Your memory. A forest that listened, of reflections that waited, of a village that never vanished, simply waited for you to believe in it again. The last thing you feel before sleep wraps its gentle fingers around you is something small and warm resting beside your hand. The coin. The side with the keyhole now shows a door, and it's already open. The light softens in your mind and in the room. Your breath slows without effort. You're not thinking about where you've been or what anything meant. You're not afraid of the forest anymore. You're part of it now. Outside, the lanterns flicker one last time, then dim to soft embers. The trees exhale. The sky folds into a deeper blue, and you are safe. Home. Remember, just rest now. Let the echoes fade, like mist on old stone. No one is waiting, because you have already arrived. She'll sleep well.